it's a more subdued good morning.
Yeah, I guess it's tiredness from yesterday.
Oh, I see. What happened yesterday?
A lot of work. I had a lot to do.
Okay.
And the kids are getting ready to reopen as well, so there's always a lot of stuff to do.
Okay,
so, yeah,
of course.
It's a mixture of both, yeah.
Of course. When you say the kids, I mean, you still look the same.
I guess I'm blessed. Yeah.
What is accounting for the clear skin and the luscious beard and the youthful appearance?
The last time I answered that question, it was front page news.
What did you say?
I'm guessing it's probably because I'm a vegetarian as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, that could be. And it must be in the genes because my sister, the one I come after, is 53, 54, but she looks like she's 29.
I see.
Yeah, so it must be in the family. And I remember when my father passed away as well, a lot of people were surprised that we were his kids. They thought he was much, much younger. So maybe that could also be the reason, yeah.
So a combination of genes and also avoiding red meat. Why not go full on, vegan? Why did you stop at vegetarianism?
I have been all my life.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I see.
All my life, yeah. My parents were as well, so that's.
I find that so fascinating. I don't meet too many Ghanaian vegetarians or vegans. I dabbled in veganism for about 2 years, but when I finally relocated, my dad said that vegan stuff. Don't bring any vegan here. We don't subscribe to that.
Yeah, we eat meat.
Yeah, we eat meat. Don't come and disturb anybody. Do you have any vegetarian options? Yeah, we are eating meat here. But I can attest to the wonders of staying away from red meat.
Good.
Yeah, it's good.
It's really good.
It helps.
Really good. My grandmother was, she passed away at 112 years, and she was a vegetarian for probably 40, 50 years. Yeah, so it's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is the secret.
Yeah, it helps. But my wife will always tell you that all die, we die.
Is she a meat eater?
Yes, she eats everything.
And that does, some people, if they are vegetarian, they won't associate with non-vegetarians, even to get married. Some people are very, very strict. Yeah. They don't want to be corrupted. But you said, corrupt me. That is fine by me. But it's good to see you. When we put the flyer out, the number one question was, where has John Germain been?
Yeah.
Maybe at least 5 or 6 of those comments. But where have you been?
I've been around. Like I said, I think I'm good at hiding. But I've been around. People who know me know I'm around. I traveled a bit with the family, but I've always been around. I spend most of the time in Ghana. I took a break from television, took a little break from radio after COVID. But I've always been around. I was concentrating on other things. I started working with a British company that's funds projects to do with African governments.
Oh, I see.
And I was doing some charity work with One Heart Foundation, which I co-own as well. So I thought I focus on that a bit, but 6-7 weeks ago, I returned to television. I have a new TV show.
Interesting.
Yeah, called I Am John Germain.
I Am John Germain.
Yeah, it airs on about 4 TV networks, and it's on YouTube as well. Yeah.
Amazing. We'll be getting into all of that because we do want to know exactly what you've been up to. You say some charity work. Of course, you're a family man, so you've been busy with that and new projects as well. So for the uninitiated, if you're listening to us this morning, if you're watching us on Facebook, hello, we have cameras all over. And what do you make of our studio? It's new.
Love it. I was looking around when I walked. I was like,
we are not small.
Really nice. Really nice.
Yeah. We put a lot into it.
Yeah.
So John Germain is a TV radio host, singer, songwriter, former lead singer of UK band Van Green. We know he's also a family man, businessman as well. I can add to that.
Yes.
What else have I left out?
Too many things. I do too many things. I'm an entrepreneur. I also co-own a tech idea company. We come up with tech ideas for all over Africa. We come up with an idea, we develop it, and then we sell it to some company in parts of Africa. I do a lot. Yeah,
that's an interesting model.
Yeah,
I see. Well, for those who want to know about your media career, how it all started, tell us about it.
Wow, that's 29 years ago. I happened to meet Appiah-Ampofo. And
the Appiah-Ampofo.
Back then it was I think Sunshine Radio was about to begin, and I used to work with a company called Multilink Services, and they had used my voice for a cleaning company. I don't know why they thought my voice was good enough for the commercial, but the lady approached me and asked if she could use my voice for a radio commercial, which I did, which was given to Appiah-Ampofo, who thought it was quite interesting. But at that time, it wasn't, I think it still is, wasn't so easy to get on radio. So he mentioned that there might be a possibility for me to get on radio, but he wondered if I'd be interested in starting somewhere else. So I was given a job as a librarian at Choice FM. You know, back then we used to play cassettes, CDs, vinyls. It's not like now you can put all your songs on a pen drive and
That's right.
Yeah, so the stations always needed somebody who knows music, who can handle the cassettes, the CDs, the vinyls. So I was employed at Choice FM. I think a few months after it started as Sunshine Radio, it switched to Choice FM, and I was employed there as the guy in the library. I think about a year after, Appiah-Ampofo and George Brune still saw something in there. So KKD's younger brother, Yaudu Daka, was sick for a few days. So they said, listen, why don't you go in the studio? We know you know music, because you usually tell the guys that, listen, why don't you play this? Why don't you play this? Just go and play some songs. Don't talk. I said, cool. So I went on there, started playing a few songs. And then the owner of the station walked in and said, you're the one playing the song? I said, yeah. So he went back out and told somebody to go look for Appiah-Ampofo. And then I thought I'd done something wrong. So Tommy came and said, you seem to know a lot about music. I said, yeah, I did a bit of radio DJing in the UK, which was a lie.
Wow.
Yeah. So he said, okay, that explains it. So I think we might have something for you. He came back about an hour after and asked me to talk on air and see how I sounded like. That was quite scary.
I can imagine.
I did that a few times, and the few days after, there were no mobile phones then. A few days after, I was home when the station driver came to tell me I've been asked to come to work because Appiah-Ampofo and George Brune and the entire team wants to speak to me, and I was offered a radio show. Yeah, that's about 28 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was it like then, that first time where you had to, I don't know what your setup was like, when you lowered the fader and then your voice came through, were you shaking? I remember the first time I was like this.
I didn't shake because I had the London thing, yes, was a lie, but it wasn't like I didn't do anything major. You know, we always had, as friends, we had parties, and I'll be the one playing the songs because I know a lot of songs. So the faders and the microphone stuff, I knew a bit about already.
Okay.
And I always hanged out with the guys who were on air then, because we were close friends. The George Bruns, the Fifi Pratts, the Kofi Dixon, the Appiah-Ampofo Ankras, and all. I hanged out with them, so I knew how the faders worked. I wasn't too tense. I think the day I hosted my own show, the very first show after months of promoting the new show I was going to start, which was called Franco Choice.
Franco Choice.
Franco Choice. It was a show I had to play Francophone music.
I see.
Yeah, Sundays. Yeah, I remember very well. I think it was that day that I was a bit nervous because I told myself that you've never done this before and you're going to do this. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Whatever I do, I don't like oh, it's good. I don't like that. I like, wow. That's me.
That's a lot of pressure, John.
Yes, no matter what I do, I can give a clear example. When I did the vocal for my song in my head, and KY and everybody kept calling like, wow. After they mix the song, I go to the studio, I listen to the song, and I say, I think I could have sung better. It's like, are you serious? That's how I work with Smash TV, with Alotigo. We're done filming, done editing, and I tell myself, I think we can do better, and everybody's upset, So that was for me. I always want things to be amazing, So that was the bit of the pressure I had on that day, but it went really well. Everybody was quite surprised, and here I am, 28 years after.
So is it safe to say then that the Tommy Appiah-Ampofo and KKD's little brother were super instrumental in shall I say, giving you your big break?
Tommy Appiah-Ampofo. Single-handedly, because I remember a lot of people didn't. How is the guy in the library going to host the show? Yeah, I mean, come on. There are other, presenters here who've been doing this for a while. And if you want to add a new show to the station's programs, you can always give that to another person. And then you want to pick the guy in the library to host the show. People didn't like the idea. But Tommy said, listen, he's going to do it and he can do it. And months after, I was hosting the drive time show. And I got to host the mid-morning show on Choice as well. And then a few years after, I was on Metro TV.
What do you think is that magic that makes for a good radio host? And day in and day out, we have young and not so young people, either calling in. They want that big break. They want to know if they're the kind of person that can take up the mantle. What do you say?
I think times have changed a little bit. Back in the day, you need to know your music, and you need to have a great voice as well. You need to have a good command of whichever language you're meant to communicate in, if it's English or Chi. Back in the day, that was it. Back in the day, you needed to sound good. I mean, I remember back in the day talking to former BBC and GBC host John Hammond about how I wanted to sound. I remember speaking to British radio DJ Dr. Fox and telling him, listen, I want to sound this way. What do I do? I mean, there was no internet. You couldn't just go on YouTube back then and start searching for how to sound. So back then, everybody knew that to get on radio, you needed to sound very good. You need to have a very good voice and know music as well. Now it's a bit different. Now I think it starts off with who you know. Now it starts off with who you know.
You're not wrong. You're not entirely wrong.
Yeah. And then it goes on to what that person thinks you can accomplish. So it's a mixture of both now, and then you need to be quite lucky as well, because there are a lot of people on radio now. Sometimes you listen to them and you go like, okay. But you're still there and you're doing quite well. So it's a bit different. And now mainstream radio is changing. There's online radio, there's YouTube, there are people who just do their stuff on TikTok and Facebook, and they're doing really, really well. So it's all different, it's all different compared to when we started it.
And would you say it's also really become about the personality? So lots of businesses will say, well, how many numbers, what are this person's numbers, especially on the socials? Everybody's trying to drive drive the audience from a personality, shall I say, profile, their social media. Do you think that sometimes gets in the way of the craft?
The numbers have become a problem, just as you mentioned, because now, even if someone or some people think that this person is not good enough, but the person has got the numbers, the person is obviously going to get all the sponsorship, the ads, because they have the numbers. And even these days, the numbers, how do you even tell their real numbers?
Because people do all sorts. You can buy,
exactly.
You can rent.
You can buy, you can rent, exactly. So it makes it. But I gave a lecture in South Africa sometime last year about the evolution of radio and how radio could possibly be like. And I go on the cover of one of the magazines in South Africa. Radio is evolving, and is now in competition with social media, which shouldn't really be the case. But I think as time goes on, social media might overshadow radio, because with the mainstream radio, you still need to have a radio set. Now, most radio stations are beginning to add the apps and the internet and all that, But the main experience and exciting experience is you need to have a radio set. You need to be in your car to be able to tune in.
Right.
And then social media, you just need to have a gadget and you're on there. It's really making things difficult for radio. But I think it's a new and amazing experience, and as time goes on, both mediums should find ways to meet each other in the middle, or probably even merge, to have the new wave of radio possibly.
Now, when I introduced you, I also mentioned that you are a singer.
Yes, I am.
What does music mean to you?
Music is everything. That's my escape route. That's my... What's the word? That's where I express myself. That's where I hide. That's where I get to be who I really am. That's the reason why the first album title was "This Is Who I Am," because television and radio, I never thought I was going to be a radio TV presenter. It's Tommy and Anforsen who thought I could be and gave me that opportunity. I always wanted to be a singer. I always wanted to be a fashion designer like my mother, or wanted to be a lawyer like my father. Those are the three things I always spoke about. I remember singing in church some time ago, and the pianist going like, okay. And that's when I realized I could sing. I remember back in the day in school, we would sing Boyz II Men's End of the Road, and the girls would go all crazy. And I didn't really know I could sing. Are you
promising us an a cappella before the interview ends?
I haven't sung in a very long time, but we could give it a try.
Oh, why not? Okay.
So yeah, music is really who I am. I write new songs almost every day. If you pick up any of my phones, you go through the audio. Most of it are songs that I've written. You go through my diaries. You can see a lot of songs that I've written. So music is who I am. It's really who I am. Yeah.
That's really the first love. Is it on par now with media, or will it always be the first love?
Music would always be my first love. Media, I grew to love it, because as time goes on, people will constantly tell me how good I am. So that got me attached and interested in it. When I started working at Metro, I just wanted to make some money, and I just wanted to prove a point to Talal Fatah that I thought that show could be better. I thought I have ideas, and I thought I was a better presenter as well. I just wanted to prove a point. So it wasn't something that I really wanted to do. That's the reason why when the show blew up, it was a bit of a surprise to me, because I don't go nowhere. I've never been to a club. I hardly go. Yeah, it surprised a lot of people. I almost never go to if you saw me at a party, it means somebody virtually dragged me there.
Or maybe you were paid to be there.
Even that one crap, people know that I'll possibly not show up.
Right.
Yeah, unless the money is really good. So when Smash TV and Allo To Go blew up, I got surprised, because I didn't realize that I was on television and that could make me famous. I'll go to places to buy, food, and then everybody go like, wow, John Germain. I go like, wait, what's going on here? So it was a bit of a surprise to me. I wasn't the person who said, listen, I want to be famous. I want to get on radio, get on TV. No, I never thought about it.
The fame was really a byproduct of the good work that you were doing.
Yes, and for me, it came as a surprise, because I remember Talal Fatah called me like 2 years into Metro TV and said, you have really become some sort of a cult figure. What happened? What do you do? I was like, I really don't know. So music would always be number one. Music would always be. I love radio. I love television. I love doing interviews. I've done some amazing interviews. If my book is coming out in a few months, I remember doing an interview with Ganaba. I asked him a question, and he started crying, because he said for over 30 years, he's done interviews, and he's always waited for somebody to ask that question. Nobody did, and I did. So I love what I do. I love the fact that I grew along the way. I learned along the way. I learned from every single person, and I became very good at it. But music always my first love.
Speaking of the music, and I remember John Germain as a household name when I was, much younger. And this particular song used to be one of the ones that was on rotation. So if you haven't listened to John Germain ever, we have a lot of young listeners here. Take a listen to this one. This is In My Head. This song turns how old next month?
15.
15. Oh my God.
It's going to be 15
how
years.
the time flies.
I know, right?
And this is the song that you said, no, it could have been better. The perfectionist in you just wasn't too happy with it.
I wanted to re-sing the second verse.
Okay.
And KY thought I'd lost my mind.
I
so did Kwesi Oting.
I'm with them. I'm definitely with them on this one because I remember, even the video at that time, and it seemed as though your lane was like, what do we call it? Lover boy, sweet boy. I don't know how to characterize it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
How was it at that time being what some would call in other jurisdictions a heartthrob, if you will?
Yes.
How did you embrace that? Did it make your head big?
I loved it. I think that was probably the only reason why I was still doing it. That was it. That was it for me. The fact that wherever I go or whatever I do, the ladies' response were huge and they showed appreciation. That was the best part for me. Yeah.
Is that the sort of attention that can make a young man in this kind of business go astray?
Very possible, but it depends on the kind of person and the kind of upbringing and the kind of mentality you have. But it's very possible because it's a very powerful form of attention.
That's right.
Women are really powerful, and when they give you all that attention, it gets to your head. But for me, that was the adrenaline. That's what kept me going. Yeah.
And what about fame in general? Was it an easy thing to handle? You go from obscurity next time, you can't even join a watching queue.
Yeah.
How did you handle that?
I handled it quite well. most of my friends from back in school, most of the people I work with at Metro TV and other stations would tell you I never changed. It didn't matter how popular, how known I'd become. I was always the same. I never changed.
That's not an easy thing to accomplish.
I never changed. I really didn't see the reason I had to, because I was still the same person. I never changed. That's how I've always been.
Would you say it was the upbringing or your upbringing?
Could be. My father was very, very down to earth. My mother was as well. But I think that's just the way I am. I'm not the kind of person who thinks that, I'm that, so I can't be like that. A lot of people who know me will tell you, it doesn't matter who calls me, I pick up. It doesn't matter who sends me a message, I respond. It doesn't matter who comments on my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I respond to everybody. And it's not to prove a point, but that's how I am. I think it's a bit rude not to respond to somebody. And that's how I've always been. If you check on my Instagram or my Facebook, you can check. Every single comment has a response. Because I think it's wrong for somebody to go out of their way to send you a message and I think I'm a celebrity, so I'm not going to respond to it. I don't do that.
Well, time a check. It is some 20 minutes past the hour of 11. You're still live here on 3 Lounge on 3FM 92.7, and we're kicking it with John Germain. It's our celebrity hangout. For those of you who've been asking, where has he been? Well, he's letting us know what the journey has been like. We pause now for a very quick break. When we come back, we get into some more juicy matters. Your questions are coming in thick and fast. Do keep them coming. We'll get into all of your juicy questions. I have a few tricks up my sleeve. No, don't be so alarmed, John. You're in safe hands. You're in absolutely safe hands. We go on this quick break. When we come back, there's more on 3 Lounge. 3FM 92. Morning TV radio host, singer, songwriter, former lead singer of UK band Van Green. Would you get back into band singing if you could?
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. It was fun. It's great always having a lot of hearts coming together to create a song. It's amazing. I mean, you pick something out of nothing and then you turn it into a song and then you perform together. What happened? I'm a bit old now, but
for those of you watching who are sending messages saying he still looks the same, the people are saying 29 years in the game, they can't believe it.
Yeah, I was 49 how many weeks ago?
Oh wow.
Yeah, 25th July I turned 49.
Impossible. So we're what? Half a century?
Yes. Next year I'll be 50.
Guys, stop eating meat. Stop eating meat. If you were not here at the start of the interview, there's no red meat in John's diet. Look at him, looking fresh like a baby. If you're watching us on Facebook, you can check him out. And I just played some of his music before and after the break. And so, John, what would you describe your genre of music as?
So I always wanted to be a rock singer. That's why I started with the UK band Van Green, which was a massive rock band at that time. But when I released, in my head was actually supposed to be a rock song, but KY changed the drums into a much heavier one, which made it sound like R&B. So we took most of the guitars out and it sounded like R&B, and that did very well.
That's right.
That did very well. Got nomination at the Africa Music Award, got nomination at the Channel O Awards, got nomination at the UK Urban Awards for Best R&B. So I told myself, well, I guess I might do quite well with R&B. So I started recording other R&B songs and putting out R&B songs. I've been putting out R&B songs ever since. So most of the songs, probably put out about 50 songs. Most of the songs I've put out are R&B, a few pop and rock.
I see.
Yeah.
And with regards to music, is that something, I mean, you say you still write music. Are you still putting out music? I haven't
put a song out since my last song. My last song was Open Up featuring Jupiter. Yeah, that's the last song I put out. That was before COVID. I think it was like 2020, 2021.
I see.
I think so, yes. I haven't released any songs yet, but I've recorded many songs. So probably sometime this year, next year, I might. You see, it's a perfectionist thing. I'll record a song that everybody thinks, wow, that's really nice. And then I listen to it for a week and I throw it away.
Well, they say people who are perfectionists, on the flip side, you might be procrastinators. I didn't say it.
This is true. There's some truth to it. There's a lot of people around me who say that. Shouts to Astu Sahiable of TV3.
Yes.
Anytime he will send me a message. So you don't go release song, eh?
I can just imagine how he says it as well. He's on your neck to release music.
Sorry?
He's on your neck to release music.
There are a few people. Him. There's a gentleman called Winston, and there's a lady who lives in Russia who found my music on number1music.com and is constantly sending me emails and messages on Facebook that I need to release songs. There are quite a few people who always send me a message asking me to. I remember a few months ago I was at the DSTV office and this guy walked to me and went like, Charlie Media, me, if I release song, but what be that? I was like, oh, dude, chill. And I told him that, listen, a lot of you say you ask me to release songs, but I ask you about my songs, and you probably know about 5, 6, or 7. I released like 40 songs. He said you did lie. He started mentioning my song, and I realized he really knew the song.
Right.
So yeah, so I get a lot of people asking me to release songs, but I want them to be good. I want us to play the song 15 years after, just like we did with In My Head, and then we will all still think it's an amazing song. So that's what I want. Yeah.
What do you make of the current landscape in Ghana as far as music is concerned, and who are some of your favorites?
It's always what I dreamt and spoke about and wanted it to be. I'm a big singer, so I always love when we have people who sing really well singing. That's why I'm a massive fan of the likes of Kojenchi, Daddy Lumba, CK Man, Pat Thomas, and all that. So I love how music has become now. I'm a huge fan of Kim Promise. I'm a massive fan of Kiddy. those are people that I interviewed in the very beginning and told Ghanaians they were going to be huge. I remember doing an interview with Stonebwoy. Nobody knew him. And I told them, listen, watch this guy. He's going to be a huge superstar. And here we are. Here we are, you know. So I love the quality we put in our music these days in Ghana. I was listening to a song a few days ago, and I didn't know it was by a Ghanaian. I found out it was by a gentleman I interviewed a few months ago. I didn't know he made that song, Olive the Boy.
Oh, yes.
He's a super talent.
Blowing up.
He's a super talent, you know. So I love what's going on now. It's amazing. I mean, listen, shouts to Shatta Wale. Yeah, I mean, he spearheaded many things, because when Shatta blew up, there was a lot of things that, with his passion and anger and all that he did, opened a lot of doors for many musicians in Ghana. I mean, back then, there were things that musicians in Ghana were upset about but couldn't talk about. He spoke about it, you know, because he wasn't really afraid of anybody, and that did a lot. But the current music industry, I'm really loving it, because you hear a Ghanaian song on radio, brand new today, and you find yourself in another part of the world, in New York, and people are playing it.
That's right.
So it's doing really well. Afrobeat has done something really good for the industry.
I agree with you. Some great music comes out of Ghana. So you say King Promise is a favorite of yours, Kiddy, Stonebwoy, Shatta Wale. Who else? Mention a few more for us. We have the Sina Souls.
I love Sina Soul.
Good voice.
She's amazing.
We have Appiah. She's been a staple for years.
Oh yeah. I'm one of the people who predicted she was going to be huge as well. I'm a big fan of what's her name? She's her father is
Jackie.
Jackie.
Yes.
I'm a big fan as well. We have a lot of talent. We have a lot of talent. Yeah, but if you find me playing songs in my car, it will possibly be the likes of Kojo Nchi, Daddy Lumba, Appiah-Ampofo, CK Man, Pat Thomas, Papa Yankson, you know, Ramblex, you know, yeah. I love those, and I totally love the new stuff as well. Kiddy Can Promise. Sometimes you listen to them, you ask yourself, how do they write the songs? I mean, for me, as a songwriter, I ask that question, means they're doing really well, yeah.
Amazing stuff. Let's get back now to TV and radio. Now, in 2020, you ended your time at EIB, with the EIB network, and that sparked a lot of conversation at the time. There was a lot going on, and you know, I know what it's like behind the scenes when you work in the media.
Yeah.
If you then come and make some of these issues known, things can get very contentious, just very sticky. Talk to us about what was going on in 2020 and how that impacted you as a person when you walked away from the network.
Well, EIB was an amazing experience, because I have known Bolorwe for way too long. I've known him from probably when he was at Radio Universe, because he was really close with Kofi Dixon, who was a very close friend of mine. So I've known him for a very long time. So when he asked me to join EIB, for me it was working for someone I saw as a brother, you know. So I didn't really see it as a job. I just love being there because of him. And then I found myself around people that I've known for a very long time as well. So going to work was like going home, because I was close friends with DJ Blow. I was close friends with Kafui Day. I was almost every single person there, on air, off air, where people I've known for a very long time. So it was always great to go there. It was always great to go to work. It was always great to plan content, put stuff on radio, go do your show, and I love how the impact the station and the network had as well. As for the problems that started there, it's like everything in life. I mean, there's nothing in this world that goes smooth forever. There's always going to be some kind of issue. So when the issues started, it wasn't something that most of us, because most of us there were, you know, we've been in the industry for a very long time. I've worked at most of the top stations in Ghana, and there's always an issue somewhere. So it wasn't really a bother for me. But it's like, you know, with everything, you know, sometimes it looks different on the outside. I mean, I remember doing an interview on the station, and then I was asked about the fact that, we found out you haven't been paid for months, so you don't even talk to Bolare. And then the funny thing is, Bola had just sent me a meme, and we were both laughing about it, and I just showed it to the guy. You know, so it wasn't as bad as it looked out there. You know, it wasn't as bad as it looked out there. The owners of the station were still pretty cool. I saw Dufour Jr. a few months ago in church, and we had an amazing conversation. It wasn't as bad as it looked. I mean,
at the time, it was a different, situation.
You know, and I'm one person who doesn't bear grudge as well. If I have a problem with you, if I don't want to talk about it, I leave it alone. I avoid it. When I'm cool, I come back and talk to you. If I think it needs to be addressed, I'll talk to you about it. I'll tell you, listen, this wasn't right, and then I move on. I don't bear grudge. I don't hold on to it for a very long time. So whatever happened at EIB or Star FM, we spoke about it. At that moment, if I was probably upset about it, I made it known, and we moved on. Days after, we meet somewhere, we talk. You know, so it wasn't as bad as it was made. I read stories about the fact that I've been fired. I read it.
Yes, that was the narrative. That in fact it wasn't you that walked away. You were asked to proceed on leave.
Oh, that's how's that even possible?
And I recall. So we have that post when you were exiting. You said, "I'm happy to announce that after 5 years and 9 months of being with Star FM and the EIB family, we have decided to mutually part ways. I'd like to thank everyone who worked with me from drop off to the zone, and everyone who tuned into my shows. All the best."
Yeah, people wondered why I said I was happy. It was a great experience, and it's come to an end. Like I said, with every life experience, it sometimes ends. You know, even we as humans, we're going to go sometime.
That's right.
That whole experience was brilliant. I loved it, and it had come to an end, and you know, there were too many issues on radio and on other stations talking about the fact that, you know, we haven't been paid for 11, 12, 13 months. That was true. But between myself, Bola, and the people we worked with, we were still very close friends because, you know, we will call and say, "Charlie, that thing, what's up? Where they going?" "Hey, Charlie," so we would laugh about it. It wasn't, like I said, even if there's an issue, we spoke about it, and at that moment, if somebody was angry, that was it. We talk about it.
Or maybe your fans were really just taking up for you, because we know it's a difficult climate, and you know, for those that love you, love what you do, they would have been enraged by that.
I totally appreciate that. I remember a lot of people calling to ask why I was still at Star FM when everybody knows that we don't get paid. I think if you Google it, you said I remember saying that. I'm not the kind of person who abandons people I call friends because they are going through problems. I'm not the kind of person who does that. I mean,
at the expense of your own well-being?
Well, you see, but that's the reason why you can call somebody a friend. If I can't help or support you in the times that you find yourself in a very dark corner, then what's really the point? If I can't struggle with you, or if I can't go through hard times with you, then what's really the point? You get me? There has to be a reason why we're friends. I should be able to go through a terrible situation with you, so when it all passes, we'll create a stronger bond, and we can, because I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, this guy is a very close friend of mine," but you can't call that person when you're in trouble. What's the point? You know, so I'm not the kind of person who does that. I stick with people. The time we left, and it wasn't just me, we're probably about 9 people who signed that agreement for us to part ways. So there's so many people, but it's just that they were not as known, for want of a better word, as I am. So nobody spoke about it. But you know, it wasn't that bad. Trust me.
In hindsight, you look back and you say it is what it is. That's what makes for an interesting journey.
Yeah. They celebrated their 10 years a few weeks ago. I was there.
Amazing.
Yeah, I was there.
Well, there you have it. Those of you who were bombarding my cell phone, I've asked the question that you wanted answers to. Time check. It is some 21 minutes To the top of the hour, 12 noon, and this is still 3 Lounge on 3FM 92.7. We're still chatting with the TV and radio host, singer-songwriter John Germain. And do keep your comments coming through on the socials. For those of you watching us on Facebook, again, hello.
I never knew you wanna take it down the line.
Show. I am John Germain. Tell us about that.
Well, I kept getting questions, people asking why I'm not back on television, because they think that's where I'm supposed to be. And once again, I didn't want to come back on television just doing anything. I wanted to do something really special. If you talk to Astus, he will tell you. I mean, there are times that we've sat down, had a conversation about a TV show that I want to have, and then you will see na Joe, why is he the best? I show it.
Shout out to you, Astus. I wonder if he's tuned in right about now.
So but it got to a time I just told myself, you know what? Let's do something. Let's put a show on television, because I can't constantly be telling people I'll possibly be back on TV soon, and I don't do that. So let's put something together. So we came up with an idea with an idea of 4 separate seasons. Each season is going to be a different concept. We have 4 seasons planned. We actually finished with season 1. And the name of the show actually came as a result of a conversation with my good friend Delay.
Oh, shout out to Delay.
Yeah, we're having the show was going to be called something totally different, and we're having a conversation. She goes like, "Wait, you are John Germain? You know that, right? Say it. Say I am John Germain." And I said it, and then a few moments I was talking to my producer. I was like, you know what? The name of the show is going to be I Am John Germain, because I just got the idea from Delay. Yeah. So we started. We put the promo out. I think we put the promo out in February. Okay. And before we started, I had 4 TV channels who were interested in airing it, including Sky TV in the UK. Okay. Yes. So we started. We shot the first 10 episodes, which aired on all the channels, which is on YouTube as well. Just go on YouTube and search for I Am John Germain, and you see the first 10 episodes on there. So the season 1 is gone. We've started filming season 2 as well. So yeah.
How was season 1 received?
I was quite impressed, because I was thinking, times have changed,
That's right.
Television has changed. Everything has changed. These days, you have people on YouTube who have huge shows with 10, 20 million followers, subscribers, and all that.
I mean, the last time Cristiano Ronaldo opened up his YouTube, he was averaging some 1 million subscribers every hour or something like that.
I think he's now somewhere around 45 million.
Goodness
that
gracious.
Guy is not human. My sons are always screaming "see" in the house. Yeah, so I thought, how are people going to receive it, But I remember recording an interview with Prince Kofi Amuabin, and then after he said, the way you do your interviews, nobody does it like that. And then that got me to realize that, okay, so that part that everybody spoke about back in the day. I remember back in the day, I was doing an interview with 4x4. And then Captain Planet, before I started, said, Charlie, do that your intro, you do I do it. I beg, we want some. So I wanted season 1 to be mainly interviews.
Okay.
And then season 2 will be something totally different. Season 3 will be something totally different. And I was quite impressed at how people kept talking about the fact that, wow, you still have it. Wow, it was great. It was great watching this interview. Wow, how did you ask this question? So it was received quite well. And the fact that till today, I still have 2 new TV channels who want to air season 2. So possibly season 2 might be on 6 TV channels. Yeah.
Well, congrats on a successful season 1, and we'll be keeping our eyes peeled for an exciting season 2. Now, you mentioned something at the start of the interview, and I wanted to bring us back to it very quickly. I think you said you're working with an organization that is doing something politics related.
Well, it's not politics related, but what Concierge Plus, what they do is it's a UK consulting firm that has a collection of investors.
Okay.
So let's say the Ghanaian government comes to us and says, listen, we've realized the drainage system in Ghana is really bad and we need $200 million to sort that out. Concierge Plus would then relay to our pool of investors who usually only want to invest in Africa, would say, okay, we can do this, but we can do the drainage for you, but what do we get in return? Or the government of Ghana says, okay, we want our mining sector to be much, much better. It's not being done where we want a company to come in. We want an investor to come in, put in this money, and then it will be like a JV, a joint venture with the government. That's what we do. So we talk to a lot of African countries. We did something in Liberia, a power project. So what I do is I do the communication, and then I relay what the government really wants, how much the government really wants.
Okay.
And then the people who know the real finance come in to look at the basics and the possibilities and all that. Yeah.
But do you wade into politics, Ghana politics?
I'm not really a politics person because I like my peace of mind, but I just might get into it because a gentleman advised me, if we're going to leave it for other people you think are not supposed to do it, we're not going to get it right. If you think it should be done right, you do it yourself. I think there's a phrase like that. So I just might add my voice.
In what capacity? Just as a vocal citizen and not a spectator, or actually maybe officially on some type of platform?
Possibly officially, because I mean you need to be part of the football match to score a goal.
I see.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Okay, that was very interesting. So, Germain for president?
Not president.
Okay.
But possibly somebody around who helps, making decisions, and because I think the rest of the world seem to be very far ahead, with AI and all that's going on. We seem to be a bit behind, and we need to make sure we start putting that in our kids, in our education system. We need to grow as the world grows, because we are still stuck with the old ways, still studying what our grandparents used to study back in school. That needs to change because the world is not the same. Yeah.
To love you more.
So if I were to ask you to just describe the state of Ghana in 3 words, what would you say?
Wow, that's a difficult one. 3 words. Progressing.
Okay.
Needs upgrade.
Okay.
And needs someone with a futuristic vision.
Okay.
Those are sentences, no words, but yeah.
We'll take it. You say we need to think futuristic.
Yeah,
we're lagging behind.
Yeah, we're lagging behind. We need somebody who sees the future for what it's going to be and has ideas on how it could be, how we need to get it there, yes.
When you look at the list of presidential hopefuls, do you see some of the qualities that you think Ghana needs in that lineup?
Yeah.
Who possesses those qualities?
I see a few. They all do. There's one person that I listen to him a lot, and I seem to realize that possibly because he's young, he has the passion and the ideas. My good friend Cheddar.
Okay.
He's an interesting choice. And I was listening to Dr. Baomi a few days ago as well, and it looks as though he might have he might have an idea, of how the future should be like. I've listened to JM as well, and JM is always on fire. So there's a lot. What we need to do is, I say this all the time. As a people, we need to stop supporting parties like football teams. I'm a Manchester United fan. We've been horrible for the last few seasons.
Commiserations. Get well soon. Get well soon.
But I'm still a Manchester United fan. You don't do that with politics. You could be MPP or NDC, but listen to what the presidential candidate and these people have to offer and ask yourself, does this work? Can this work? Is this what Ghanaians need? And then make a decision. We don't stick with parties even when we think that, this party is not doing well, but they are my people, and then blindly still try to support them. That's always been our problem. And for this election, I keep saying again, I think Ghana is a bit behind in terms of how the rest of the world is moving. And I've listened closely, and I've made a choice. I'll possibly make that public sometime soon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so you'll be telling us who you're throwing your weight behind. Are you ready for the kind of backlash those revelations tend to bring?
You see, that's another area. That's one thing that we as a people need to find ways to move away from, because everybody has a choice. I already have a choice. The fact that I have not told you about it doesn't make it any different. You get me? And if I see that somebody or one candidate might work, and that's a personal opinion, and I'd want to convince you to pick that person as well, that's not a problem. If you don't agree with me, don't agree with me, but it shouldn't be. But I know a lot of people say that. My wife has said that people usually don't like it when you but I don't want to be the old man who tell myself that Ghana was quite bad then. What did you do about it? What did you add your voice to it? Did you try to make something work? I don't want to be that guy. So I've been listening closely, and I've made a choice, and I'll possibly make it public soon.
If I were to ask you, rate this current administration on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very good, 1 being mediocre, what is your score?
Wow, it's a difficult one to rate, because I think we find ourselves, the whole world is going through economic crisis globally. COVID was quite massive, had a very bad effect on almost every government. It's been difficult for every government. So to just give a rating, I think they've done well. They possibly were not able to do all they wanted to do, but I think they've done quite well. They could have done better, but I think they've done quite well.
Interesting.
Found someone who really loves.
They say time flies when you're having fun. I wish this interview could go on and on and on. And shout out to everybody that's on the stream and sending through your messages, your questions. I think most of them have now been answered. Wisdom Agojo says, this is the man I love so much.
Whatever it is, girl.
I think a few people are also asking that you bring back the music. So yes, on the stream there on Facebook, they say more music. They want to take some of this music to woo their, the ladies in their lives. Very romantic music, indeed. But quickly before we say goodbye, you're a family man, you're a businessman, you're doing so many things, wearing so many hats. How do you balance all of that and make sure that the kids and the wife, the entire family have your attention?
It's a learning process. My oldest daughter is at the University of Ghana. You can learn to be that kind of a father only once. It's a learning process. Balancing is not something you become a master at. Every single day you learn something new, and then you put that in your back pockets. The next time that pops up, you use it. It's a great experience. It's one of the best experiences. Being able to raise a child, have a family has been totally awesome, and adding work, business, surviving, and all that to it. It's quite difficult, but I love it. I love learning along the way. That's one of the things I always do, no matter what I do. As I speak to you now, I'm learning from you. That's what I do.
Fantastic.
I pick things from every single person because you can't know it all.
That's right.
You can't be the best at everything. Even if you were the best, you still learn. You can still learn, and that's what I do. I learn every day.
Absolutely. So you've got how many children now? 3.
I have 4.
Okay.
4, yeah.
4. Is the shop closed?
Yeah, I'm too old now.
Oh.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear babies crying anymore.
You've paid your dues.
Yes.
You've changed enough diapers. Yeah. You've had enough sleepless nights.
I don't want to hear antenatal. I don't want to hear that anymore.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to hear anomaly scan anymore.
Hey, which one is that one?
Oh, you don't know?
Oh, some of us, we are not there yet.
Well, when a woman is pregnant, when it gets to a certain stage between 4, 5, 6 months.
Okay.
There's a scan that checks to see if the baby is totally normal.
Okay, that's where you check for Down syndrome and also.
Yes. Yeah, if they have all fingers, all feet, the eyes are in the right place and other stuff like that. Yeah.
You're done with that.
No, I'm done. I don't even want to hear it anymore.
Well, what a time it has been. We've been hanging out on a 3 Lounge with the one, the only Germain, TV radio host, singer, songwriter, former lead singer of UK band Van Green, and the host of I Am Germain. Be sure to check it out on the socials, on YouTube in particular. John, it's been exquisite having you this morning. Thank you so much for spending your mid-morning with us.
Well, thank you for having me as well. It's been great. It's great to have a conversation that doesn't lead to troubles. These days I quit doing interviews for the last 2 years. I tell almost every interview.
Is this your first one in the
very first interview I've done in the last 3 years?
Wonderful. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Well, we're very honored.
Yes, because usually these days you do interviews and they ask questions that when you give an answer, you get a headline that might bring you stress in the coming days.
Absolutely.
So I told myself I wasn't going to do that, but I thought I'd do this. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Well. It's been wonderful. Well, Beatrice Adu is standing by now for the news at 12 noon. Thank you so much for deciding